Hi, I'm Justin, a software developer at TechFusion. Despite making six figures, I'm practical about spending habits. Why waste money on overpriced items when the same quality is available for less? That's just smart living, if you ask me. Today started like any Saturday running errands and hitting up my favorite discount stores. I grabbed some kitchen gadgets from ValueMax, picked up shirts from Discount Threads, and found an awesome deal on wireless earbuds at Bargain Tech. By late afternoon, I was juggling 5 shopping bags with their unmistakable bright logos. I had a 7 p.m. reservation at Bellini's, this upscale Italian place downtown I've been frequenting for almost 2 years. When I first discovered it, I was drawn to their incredible pasta and the warm, welcoming atmosphere. The previous manager, David, always made sure every guest felt special, regardless of their appearance. He even kept notes about regular customers' preferences. He knew I loved the corner table with the city view because I enjoyed watching the sunset while dining solo. But David retired last month, and things had changed dramatically since then. I usually come straight from work in my typical dev outfit, jeans and a decent button-up. But today I was in a t-shirt and cargo shorts. Walking into Bellini's with my discount store bags, I immediately noticed something off. There was a new manager I'd never seen before at the host stand alongside Vanessa, who usually greets me by name. Today, she seemed to shrink behind the computer screen, avoiding eye contact. Good evening. Welcome to Bellini's. The man's smile tightened when his eyes dropped to my shopping bags. Hi, reservation for Justin Mercer. Yes, Justin. Unfortunately, your usual table has been reserved for another party tonight. That's odd. I made my reservation 3 days ago, specifically requesting that table. My apologies, sir, but we had a special booking. He glanced meaningfully at my ValueMax bags. We can seat you near our kitchen area instead. I followed Vanessa as she led me to the worst table in the house, right by the swinging kitchen doors, with constant noise and server traffic. A pot crashed somewhere behind me, making me jump. The disappointment must have shown on my face because Vanessa looked genuinely uncomfortable as she placed the menus down. Is this really the only available table? I asked, watching another server dodge around my chair as the kitchen doors swung open again. I'm sorry, Justin, she whispered, looking over her shoulder. Marcus is new and he's particular about guest placement. I had barely settled in when Marcus personally escorted a couple to my regular table. The guy wore a flashy watch and carried shopping bags from designer stores. The woman had a handbag that probably cost more than my monthly rent. They were seated with flourishing courtesy while I dodged yet another rushing server. An elderly couple wearing simple but clean clothes walked in without a reservation. I watched as Marcus smoothly told them they were fully committed for the evening. 5 minutes later, a young couple in designer outfits got a table immediately. Can I get you something to drink while you decide? A familiar voice broke my concentration. Emma, good to see a friendly face. Emma had been my server dozens of times. She lowered her voice. I saw what happened. That was totally unfair. Does this happen often? She glanced over her shoulder. Since Marcus started last month? More than you'd think. He's the owner's nephew's friend or something. So my discount store bags got me the discount table experience? Between us? Absolutely. He and Vanessa were literally discussing it before you walked up. She suggested giving you your usual spot, but he said the restaurant needs to maintain an image and attract the right clientele. The kitchen doors swung open again, nearly knocking over my water glass. Can you at least move me somewhere quieter? This is ridiculous. Emma bit her lip. Let me try. She returned minutes later, shaking her head. Marcus says we're fully committed tonight. I glanced around at several empty tables, watching as another well-dressed couple was seated at one of these fully committed spots. My blood began to boil, but I kept my voice steady. Don't worry about it, Emma. This situation won't stay like this. Over the next 2 weeks, I conducted my own investigation, returning to Bellini's 4 times with different appearances. When dressed in my expensive watch and designer clothes, Marcus practically rolled out the red carpet, the best tables, attentive service, personal check-ins. The sommelier appeared instantly, and the chef even came out to greet me once. But with my discount store bags, Suddenly, they were fully booked, or could only seat me by the kitchen again. The difference in service was stark long waits between courses, water glasses left empty, minimal attention from staff who seemed afraid to be seen serving the kitchen table customers too attentively. I started noticing other patterns too. Families with children were increasingly relegated to the back corners. An older man in a worn but clean suit was told they weren't accepting walk ins, only to watch a younger man in an expensive suit get seated moments later. Even regulars I recognized from my many visits were getting different treatment based on their appearance. After my latest disappointing visit, I waited outside until Emma emerged from the staff exit. The evening air was cool, and she wrapped her arms around herself as she approached my car. "Hey, Justin, doing your little experiment again? You noticed, huh? Mind if I buy you a coffee? I have some questions." At the 24-hour diner across the street, Emma revealed the full extent of Marcus's discrimination. He had implemented a formal system, ranking customers by appearance and what they carried. Designer bags got window seats, nice suits got center tables, while discount store bags or casual clothes meant kitchen tables or being turned away. He's required the staff to notify him whenever one of the discount shoppers makes a reservation, so he can mark those tables as reserved, even when they're not, Emma explained, stirring her coffee nervously. And he's got this whole category in the system labeled appearance tier. Regular customers are flagged and categorized. What about the other staff? How do they feel about this? Most of us hate it. Last week, Luis, the busboy who's worked here for 12 years, seated an elderly couple at a good table because the woman was using a walker. Marcus humiliated him in front of everyone and threatened to cut his hours if he did it again. That's horrible. What about the owner? Surely they don't approve of this. Catherine inherited the place from her dad and barely visits. She has no idea this is happening. But here's the worst part. Marcus's uncle Richard is an investor who actually encourages this behavior. He says appearance of exclusivity drives up profits. Emma then mentioned Catherine was coming tomorrow for a monthly review meeting. An idea started forming in my mind. I called my friends Alex and Melissa that night. We'd been close since college, and I knew they'd want to help expose this discrimination. Alex worked in finance and owned the kind of clothes Marcus would approve of, while Melissa, a brilliant software engineer, shared my practical shopping habits. The next morning, we met at my apartment to plan. "So, let me get this straight," Alex said, adjusting his borrowed Rolex. "You want me to play the part of a wealthy banker while Melissa acts as a typical discount shopper?" "Exactly. I've made 2 reservations under different names, 15 minutes apart. You'll be Alexander Wellington with that Italian suit you wore to your sister's wedding. Melissa will just be herself, carrying these discount store bags." The results were exactly what I expected. Melissa was immediately relegated to a kitchen table despite the restaurant being half empty. Her service was minimal, with long waits for basics like water refills. 15 minutes later, Alex received a prime window table, constant attention, and personal visits from Marcus ensuring everything was perfect. Meanwhile, Emma had been gathering internal evidence, screenshots of customer tiers in the reservation system, tables falsely marked as reserved, and explicit instructions on turning away undesirable customers. She even managed to record Marcus during a staff meeting discussing their seating strategy. "Remember," Marcus's voice rang clear in the recording, "if anyone with discount store bags tries to walk in without a reservation, we're always fully committed. If they have a reservation, they get kitchen tables only. We want Bellini's to project exclusivity, not become another chain restaurant for the masses." The next day, I arrived at Bellini's during Catherine's review meeting, portfolio in hand. Despite initial resistance, I was allowed to present our evidence to Catherine, Marcus, and Richard. Photos, recordings, internal documents, and clear proof of systematic discrimination. "As you can see," I explained, laying out the evidence methodically, "Marcus has implemented a system that categorizes customers based on their appearance and shopping bags. Those deemed lower class are either seated by the kitchen or turned away entirely." Catherine's expression darkened as she examined each piece of evidence. "Is this true, Marcus?" "It's not how it sounds. We're simply optimizing the dining experience for all patrons. By marking people as discount shoppers and refusing them proper service? I pulled up the recordings from Alex and Melissa's visits. Same reservation details, 15 minutes apart. Listen to the difference in treatment. Richard tried to defend the practice. It's just business strategy, Catherine. Every upscale establishment does it. Look at the numbers. Our profits are up 18% since implementation. By turning away paying customers? Catherine's voice shook with anger. My father built this restaurant on the principle that everyone deserves to enjoy a quality dining experience, regardless of their wallet size. He worked 3 jobs to save enough to open this place. He wore secondhand suits and bought discount shoes so he could pay his staff fairly. She turned to Marcus. You're fired. Clear out your things immediately. When Richard threatened to reconsider his investment over her decision, Catherine stood firm. I'd rather have a restaurant with integrity than one built on discrimination. And Richard, you can take your investment and go. We'll do just fine without your money or your elitist ideas. The transformation at Bellini's was remarkable. Within 2 weeks, Catherine had implemented extensive staff training on inclusive customer service. Emma, who had helped expose the discrimination, was promoted to assistant manager. Luis got a raise and was praised for his compassionate treatment of guests. Most importantly, every customer was treated with equal respect, regardless of their shopping bags or attire. Business didn't suffer. In fact, it improved. Word spread about the restaurant's commitment to treating everyone with dignity, and the tables were fuller than ever. Regular customers who had been quietly enduring the discrimination returned with friends and family. The quality of food and service remained excellent, but now everyone got to enjoy it. One evening, as I sat at my usual window table, deliberately carrying ValueMax bags, Emma approached with a smile. Catherine asked if you'd consider a consulting role to help with our new customer experience initiative. She wants to make sure nothing like this ever happens again. I glanced over at Melissa and Alex, who were seated at another prime table, raising their glasses in a toast. To shopping at discount stores, Alex called out, and being treated like a human being anyway. I raised my water glass in return, my ValueMax bags proudly displayed beside me. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just exposing injustice. It's creating lasting change that benefits everyone. The sunset view from my corner table had never looked better. Have you ever been judged or treated differently based on your appearance or shopping habits? What would you have done in Justin's situation? Confronted the discrimination immediately, or gathered evidence like he did? If you enjoyed this revenge story about standing up to classism, hit that like button and subscribe for more tales of justice served. Your comments help decide which stories I share next.